you know something, if you keep this up, you'll be in the Olympics someday. He went home and talked to his father and asked him, what is the Olympics?
There were a lot of reasons Matt Keflezighi had never heard of the Olympics before that day in 1987. One certainly had to do with where he came from, but another was about where everyone else in his family was headed.
I have won an Olympic silver medal and New York City Marathon medals, but this is what my older brother Fusun received in 9th grade, outstanding student 1988, and we're very proud of that. This is what gave us hope and determination to get the best out of ourselves.
The Keflezighis come from the African nation of Eritrea, which in the mid-1980s was ravaged by civil war. And like so many others, Rasim and Atwash Keflezighi, owners of a successful grocery business, fled the country and ended up in an unknown land called California.
We came as a Red Cross refugee and we lived on food stamps. The parents and 7 kids and 3-bedroom and bathroom.
Eventually, there would be 11 Keflezighi kids, and in this San Diego apartment, their father would wake the oldest ones up at 4:30 in the morning to practice English with a single shared dictionary.
What my dad always instilled in us is that education is the key to life. Nobody can take it away.
Today, the Keflezighi clan includes a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an MBA, all of whom stand side by side with their brother, the champion marathoner.
Matt wasn't always the best in the world, but he's worked very, very hard to get to the position where he's at today, and he never gave up. And I think he is a great personification of, our family journey.
In the 8 years since his silver medal in the Athens Marathon, Keflezighi has struggled with a series of injuries. But now, at 37, he's running as well as ever, and in January became the oldest winner ever of the Olympic Trials Marathon.
Even though some people thought it was over, I know down deep that I can still accomplish more, and that's what drives me every day, and I don't want to waste that talent.
In a little over 2 months, on October 21st, the Keflezighi family will celebrate 25 years in the United States. 25 years since Matt first began improving on his mile time. 25 years since his family set about bettering their new life in a strange land.
Many people who know us believe that we are the American dream. We came here without nothing, but we made a lot out of ourselves and tried to be a good citizens.
And there he is in the white hat. We heard Meb say to Lewis before the race he had 24 family members, another 25 or so friends here to see him. Great support group, and that family does indeed represent the American dream. Looks like we have about 7 in the chase pack at the moment as they continue through the streets of London. You know, it was at the 1908 London Olympics where the marathon distance was standardized at 26 miles, 385 yards. That was the distance from Windsor Castle, where it started on the East Lawn, to White City Stadium in front of the Royal Box. And since then, that's been the standard distance, 26 miles, 385 yards, which occurred because of Windsor Castle wanting to start go by Windsor Castle in the marathon in 1908 Olympics.
With Tom, he's just passing Big Ben here as Wilson Kipsang Kiprotich. He's the outstanding favourite. He's the second fastest man in history, is Kiprotich. He missed the world record by just 4 seconds last year. He's the London Marathon champion, and more importantly, he's got the winning habit. He's won his last 4 marathons, and he's just run the last 2 miles in 9:06. How about that? Around 4:33 average for the last 2 miles, and that's why he's blown away one of the greatest marathon fields ever gathered together. His lead is now about 15 or 16 seconds.
But they haven't lost sight of him. This is the part of the course where you have some long stretches, so running as a group, as the people behind him are doing, is definitely an advantage. They can work together. They can take turns trying to lead a charge back up to where he is. But this is really a defining move. You know, in London, he ran a 14-minute 5,000 meters in the middle of the race to get away from people, and then imposed some more pace later in the race. So he's used to doing this. He has the ability to sustain it, although he's gone much earlier in this race than he did at the London Marathon, Tim.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. It throws up all sorts of question marks in different scenarios. Like you say, that pack working together behind, we'll be thinking, okay, as long as we keep the guy within reasonable range, then we're okay. We can work back to him. I think this is a bold move, but yeah, I agree. He's gone too early. I'm surprised he didn't leave this until maybe halfway around the second lap. They're only just completing, don't let's forget, the first of these big 8-mile laps. When he comes through past Buckingham Palace, heads down the Mall again, or running away from Buckingham Palace, he'll be starting his second and third big laps. He's got 16 miles plus to go.
And as we mentioned at the start of the race, Gore Marial is running under the IOC flag because his country, South Sudan, the newest country in the world, does not have an Olympic committee. He competed in the United States for Iowa State University, 2079 is his number. And then to compete in the Olympics without a country, got donations from folks in Britain and in the United States. He's had an unbelievable story. We're reading a story in the Times of London talking about how he was from Sudan, which has had a 20-year civil war between the Christians and the majority Arab Muslims. He was a Dinka tribesman, a Christian. That civil war has left 2 million dead. It created 4 million refugees. He lost 8 of his 10 brothers and sisters as the Sudanese soldiers would come to burn their village and they would head into the bush to hide. He then was kidnapped by Arab nomads for a time. He was taken by the army, had his jaw broken by a rifle butt. Wow. Was essentially a slave for this soldier officer, and then went from Sudan to become a refugee in America, now 28 years old, and competing here in the Olympics under the IOC banner. Before the race began today, he talked with Lewis Johnson.
Gore, you've had an unbelievable journey to get to these Olympic Games. What does it mean to be here and be ready to now run this London Olympic Marathon?
Wow, it's feel real great. Finally be here after all the battles to be able to go through all this complication. But final here, it's feel real great. Feel great to the supporter and to the people of South Sudan. So I'm very excited before I even line up on the line and start race. So real excited.
Curious to know how the other athletes at the village and as you've been here at the games, how they responded and reacted to you being here and representing South Sudan.
I think they're very excited. They're very excited, and they can't wait for me to come back, and hopefully, and myself can't wait to go back there and be able to sit down with them and talk to them, and we can figure out what we can do for next year's couple of years to come.
All right, best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, okay.
One of those great Olympic stories. He's not going to win a medal at home back in the States. He works in a home for mentally disabled adults from 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. Sometimes allowed to use the running track at the University of Arizona. Otherwise, he trains along the roads in Arizona. The IOC paid for his ticket to London, got him a new pair of shoes to run this marathon, and he is well back in the pack, but an inspirational story. There's a look at Wilson Kipsang, who is the leader. The chase pack right behind him. And out on the course, Gore Marial, representing the IOC, Sudanese refugee, running in the Olympic marathon.